Hello and welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the freezing northwest.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
In sub-zero temperatures, Merseyside nurses join the biggest ever NHS walkout. The government says there are no plans to look again at their pay deal.
The MPs that are making these decisions are getting pay rise year on year on year. They're having all the meals subsidised, they're getting their second homes paid for. So why is there no money to pay for the people who are actually saving lives on the front line?
Claims they failed to treat Awab's family with fairness and respect. New criticism of the Housing Association after the death of the 2-year-old boy.
Let me sing a funny song.
Preparing for a festive favourite, the show business stars bringing us some early Christmas fun.
And it was nearly -11 Celsius this morning in Nantwich, -12 nearly in Roston in Cheshire. Similar temperatures overnight tonight. The big freeze continues. Full forecast a little later on.
Yes, Hollywood glamour coming up, but first, for the first time in the history of the NHS, nurses have walked out of their wards on Merseyside and onto picket lines in a dispute over pay and staff shortages.
Outside one Liverpool hospital, their message was simple. You clap for us, now act for us if you care about the health service.
The Royal College of Nursing is asking for a 19% pay rise, which they claim is vital to stop the hemorrhaging of staff from the nursing profession.
Appointments and operations have been cancelled as a result of the first day of this strike, at a time when hospitals are already struggling with winter pressures and post-COVID waiting lists.
We can cross live to our reporter Emma Sweeney, who's in Liverpool now. Emma.
Well, it is a bitterly cold night here outside the Royal Liverpool Hospital. Despite that, nurses have been on the picket line since 8 o'clock this morning and they will stay here until around 8 o'clock tonight. Why? Well, it's the same story up and down the country. They say they need better pay and conditions in the face of rising costs. Now, we've been here for the last couple of hours and I have to say it's been a very lively couple of hours with plenty of support from people as they pass by. But I think it is fair to say that for those on this picket line, for many of them, they find it hard to comprehend it has come to this. This is the biggest action of its kind in the history of the NHS, as my colleague Anne O'Connor now reports.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!
In freezing temperatures, Royal Liverpool Hospital nurses protesting what they call frozen pay.
The fact that we're here today shows the government don't care about the ordinary guy on the street.
They want a 19% rise to stop colleagues leaving the job and attract more to fill 47,000 vacancies.
None of us wanted it to come to this point that we're having to stand outside our place of work and withdraw our labour and take ourselves away from the patients that we're supposed to be looking after. But we all feel that we need to fight for our profession. We're looking after patients in corridors and in the backs of ambulances when we should be able to give these people the dignity and the respect that they deserve, and we're not able to do that.
For the future of all of you, because at some time any of us can be in any hospital and we need to have safety.
So they feel out in the cold, but are warmly supported.
It's a bit mind-blowing and very emotional for us, and we've had lots of tears this morning about the amount of people that have come out and supporting us. It's unbelievable. We know we've got support, but it's nice to see it and hear it.
Taxi drivers throwing Christmas chocolates at you?
Yeah, I had to run across the road to grab a box before someone else stole them from us. But yeah, it's amazing. Like, so much support. It's unbelievable.
The government's offering what an independent pay review recommended, around 4%. The Royal College of Nursing has accused the Health Secretary of refusing to talk about pay. He says their demands will cost the NHS £10 billion from frontline services.
And I do think it's important that we have a constructive engagement, but it's got to be reasonable. And I think asking for 19% at a time when many viewers face significant cost of living pressures is not affordable.
Which one? Which colour do you want?
In the run-up to the strike, we filmed with community nurse Lucy Williams and her family at home in Liverpool. Today, she was on the picket line in Old Swan.
Just the start. So all the staff are so motivated to make sure that we're heard in Westminster, and I think next week there's going to be a good turnout again.
So there is deadlock in this dispute, with another walkout planned next Tuesday. Anne O'Connor, ITV News, Liverpool.
Well, next tonight, a government's watchdog has found widespread failings at the housing association, which rented out a mouldy flat to the family of 2-year-old Awab Ishaq. The toddler died of prolonged exposure to mould.
The regulator of social housing says Rochdale Borough-wide Housing failed to treat Awab's family with fairness and respect and made incorrect assumptions about the cause of the damp and mould.
It also found they didn't act quickly enough to protect other tenants living in damp and dangerous homes. Anna Yosef has been following this story and joins us in the studio. And Anna, this investigation has come about because of the recent inquest.
That's right, Gamal. I'm sure a lot of people will remember this case. A coroner concluded last month that 2-year-old Awab Ishaq died from a breathing condition caused by mould in his family's one-bedroom flat in Rochdale. Rochdale Borough-wide Housing was responsible for the upkeep of the property, but they failed to deal with the damp despite repeated requests from his family. The investigation by the regulator found the Housing Association waited nearly 2 years after Awab died to check other homes on the estate, and when it did, found hundreds of tenants living with damp and mould. So basically, they only took action when the reason for Awab's death was made public knowledge. Here's what the regulator had to say.
What we have found is this is an organisation that did not have computer systems that talked to each other, that did not work effectively. This was not an organisation that was paying enough attention to what was happening within the organisation. And so following the tragic case of Awab Ishaq, the organisation didn't really understand the state of its stock, it didn't investigate the state of its stock, and it hadn't really taken the steps you would expect an organisation of this size to take as a result of this tragic case.
So what action is the watchdog going to take against the Housing Association?
Well, Elaine, for a start, it's downgraded the provider to the second lowest grading. That means it's breached standards and it's required to take action. And they'll be monitoring the situation to make sure that they do. We spoke to a tenants' union that's been campaigning for the residents who live on the estate where Awab died. They think things are slowly starting to move in the right direction.
We know that there's many homes that are suffering from mould and damp, and we know that the knee-jerk that came out of the inquest was that Rochdale Borough-wide Housing put in task force and immediately started to address it. After so long, that just doesn't make sense. So it is a long process. The first steps are really important though, because these are laying down the groundworks for the way forward for social housing in Rochdale.
And just briefly, Anna, what have Rochdale Borough-wide Housing had to say about the findings?
They say they're addressing the issues. They sent us a statement. We now have a long road ahead of us to regain the trust and confidence of current and future tenants, Rochdale Council, the Rochdale community and the regulator. There are hard lessons to learn. Process must never get in the way of people. Tenant voice must always be valued. Maintenance and property renewal should be prioritised. And tenant safety must always be the first and foremost consideration. Their former chief executive, Gareth Shawbrick, was initially backed by his board, but was then sacked because of the public outcry. It does seem as if Awab's death has been a wake-up call of sorts to the housing industry and the government. But we know that there are hundreds of families across our region forced to live in squalid conditions. So there's a lot more to do.
And if people are in those conditions and they're not getting any answers, we want to hear from them. Anna, thank you very much indeed.
More of the day's news now, and schools across Cumbria are being given more money to feed pupils and run breakfast and homework clubs. From today, every primary and secondary will get a share of £2 million from the County Council to support children and families through the cost of living crisis.
Well, we're hearing a lot from head teachers about the extra workload, obviously that COVID caused, and now the cost of living crisis, which is equally, you know, a really desperate situation. And they're talking a lot about children coming in and being hungry and cold. So we're just trying to make sure that they have, a warm place, and also they've got that access to food.
Voters are going to the polls today to choose a new MP for Stretford and Urmston. The by-election follows the departure of MP Kate Green, who's taking over as the new Deputy Mayor of Greater Manchester. There are 9 candidates standing and polling stations are open until 10 o'clock this evening.
Now, older people are being urged to check whether they qualify for pension credits benefits by this weekend to ensure they don't miss out on possible extra payments.
The credit is designed to help people who are over state pension age and on a low income, although you don't need to be getting a state pension to receive it.
Those who claim by the 18th of December could also be entitled to an extra payment of more than £300, with claims backdated for up to 3 months.
And if you think that's you, there's lots more information on how to claim pension credit on our website, with links to a pension credit calculator to see if you can apply. So just go to itv.com/Granada.
OK, still to come this evening.
The footballers showing their support for a community kitchen.
And I absolutely love this Snow family checking out the sunset in Bolton. A big thank you to Marcus Milton. We might see a little bit more of this as we head through into the weekend. As a warmer, wetter weather situation pushes its way into the cold air, we're looking at perhaps a couple of hours of snow before it pushes north and eastwards on Sunday, and there are already warnings in place for the northwest for snow and ice. That's your heads up for the weekend. I'll have your full forecast between now and then, a little later on.
Absolutely Baltic, folks.
That is a lot of snow.
Here's what's still to come on the ITV News at 6:30 with Charlie.
A royal war between brothers. Prince Harry's explosive allegation about the Sandringham summit on his and Meghan's future.
It was terrifying to have my brother scream and shout at me and my father say things that just simply weren't true.
The biggest strike in the history of the Royal College of Nursing. Tens of thousands walk out over pay across England, Wales and Northern Ireland. And why the days of limited liquids and plastic bags when you fly could be over. Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
Well, next tonight, and there are many ways to raise money for charity, but a dad from Bolton is going the extra mile on his bike.
As you do. Well, Andrew Crompton has swapped his shirt and tie for Lycra as he cycles across 3 continents, 4 countries and 10 time zones on a gruelling 8-month ride from Manchester to Melbourne.
He's hoping to raise £500,000 for 2 charities he says are close to his heart. Well, a short time ago, I caught up with him as he was having a little bit of a break in India.
Prior to me finishing work last March, I thought it might be a good idea to do something where I can raise money for 2 great charities that would be supported for many years and try to lose a little bit of weight and get fit as well. So I thought bike ride to Australia seemed like a good idea.
You're in India now. By my calculations, that's well over 4,000 miles away. What's been the hardest part of the journey so far?
I think probably the most difficult was coming through the desert. So when we came through Kuwait and Saudi and into the UAE, so it was just literally 36-degree heat. It was just miles and miles of just straight roads and headwinds. So it was mentally as well as physically really challenging. Yeah, and on that point about it being mentally and physically challenging, I can imagine there have been many points throughout this expedition so far where you've just been on your own, kind of, with miles and miles of flat lands all around you. Yeah, it's been really tough. I think Eastern Turkey and now here in India, physically has been the most demanding. I mean, the hills and mountains have been a real challenge, particularly for an old boy like me. Given that you've already covered so much ground, has there been any close shaves along the way? I've come off 4 times in the journey so far, and unfortunately, about a couple of weeks ago was probably the worst one when I was here in India, and they have huge speed bumps over here that they don't mark and very difficult to spot. And unfortunately, I hit one early one morning a couple of weeks ago and took a little bit of a battering, a few cuts and grazes, but nothing that doesn't mend.
How are you feeling about the rest of the journey?
Do you know, I'm really looking forward to it. We kind of brought the back of it now. We've come all the way down through Eastern Europe and Turkey and through the Middle East. So it's kind of, you know, not as daunting a task as when I set off in Bolton in July.
And just finally, Andrew, just talk to us a little bit about the charities that you're hoping to raise money for.
Yeah, so I'm riding for 2 charities, Carers Trust and for Bolton Lads and Girls Club, and both of them run programmes for young carers. And what we want to do is really raise money if we can to help them with, you know, improving their social lives by providing respite care and maybe getting them to go on holidays and support groups with kids in a like-minded position, and, you know, anything we can do to turn the spotlight on them and you know, for them and raise money. We'd be really grateful for any support that we could get.
A worthy cause. Andrew, great to chat, and the very best of luck for the rest of the bike ride. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for having me on.
And we'll share the details of the charities that are going to benefit from that massive ride.
Tell you what, a very impressive guy, given that he's covered so many miles already. He had a lot of energy and is more than happy to chat and away. So hats off to him and good luck for the rest of the journey.
But you did say nice and warm, though.
Nice and warm, yeah. Next this evening, to the first team players with Burnley FC who have been showing their support for staff of the town's community food bank.
Yes, the players have been packing food parcels and donations at a time when families say they are struggling with rising costs.
Our sports correspondent, David Chisnell, was there too.
Yes, welcome to Burnley FC in the Communities Warehouse. An impressive place, especially when you consider the figures involved here. You know, this year alone, they have provided 32,000 meals for people from this warehouse. They provide 30 food parcels every day. I'm delighted to say that they have got a few extra helpers. Guys, come on, get packing the food parcels as well. We've got Evie Priestley from the women's team. We've also got Ian Matson from the men's team as well. Ian, we'll come to you first of all. I mean, you've had a look around this place today. I mean, what do you make of it and how important is it?
It's insane. I think it's a lot of food you can see. It's very important to make people happy, to help them where it's needed. So I'm glad that Burnley and the community help each other to do this, you know.
Evie as well, you are Burnley born and bred, so I suppose you know how important it is for the local area to really help out those people who need it most.
Yeah, especially during these tough times, it's important to help wherever we can, so yeah.
What do you make of this place as well? How impressive is it?
Yeah, there's loads, it's amazing how much stuff there is.
And Ian, if we'll just come back to you, because I believe you're going to be doing something very special on Christmas Eve as well. Just tell us about that and why you want to do that.
I think, personally for me, myself, it's not just football. It's also outside football, and I want to make people happy.
You're going to give them Christmas meals? You're going to be handing Christmas meals out to 10 families, is it?
Yeah, 10 families, and then if they have children, then I'll give them a little present to just put them in the Christmas sphere.
Ian, Evie, thank you so much for today. Well, let's have a quick chat with Nathan Norris as well, who's the manager here. Nathan, this time of year, how important is it to really kind of reach out? I mean, this is work you do all throughout the year, but this time of the year, extra special.
This time of year is really, really busy. Like I said, we do it all throughout the year as well, so 12 months. But yeah, it's really important that we get the players down. The club's been really, really supportive, as well as the charity and the local businesses as well. As you can see, the food, there's a lot of food at the moment, but this will all be gone by sort of Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So it's really important that we continue with donations.
And of course, it's not just food, toys as well, I believe that you're doing, and also bits for animals as well.
Yeah, so we've got the partnership with RSPCA, so we're able to feed pets. That's really important. A lot of families and single people were saying that we're feeding pets with their own food. And then the toys are really important. We've had over 900 children that have received toys through the Burnley Together Christmas Toy Appeal, so it's been really important to get them out, and that finishes next Thursday. So they're still asking for donations as much as possible.
Nathan, thanks so much for joining us tonight. And of course, fans can also donate to this food bank as well. Every game, ahead of every game, Turf Moor, there are bins like this outside the ground. So the next opportunity will be this Saturday against Middlesbrough.
Brilliant. Well, David cracking the whip there. I hope he stayed and packed some parcels himself.
Yeah.
Good effort, guys. Now, finally, a Hollywood actor, a famous pop star and a favourite from Brookside are, let's be honest, an unlikely grouping on stage, but it's nearly Christmas, so anything can happen.
Yeah, Jay McGuinness from The Wanted, actor Michael Stark, who played Sinbad, and Lorna Luft, Hollywood legend Julie Garland's daughter, are all appearing in White Christmas at the Empire Theatre in Liverpool.
Victoria Grimes has been to meet them.
Absolutely loving it, yeah. Aside from the show, which is just so fun to perform in, I really have enjoyed working with you. It's been really
cheers.
fun.
And ditto.
Blue sky, smiling.
Michael runs the inn up in Vermont. We have to try and save the inn with our giant Broadway Christmas show.
I mean, there's echoes of the Nativity here in Bethlehem, aren't there? Saving the inn, room at the inn. There's always an inn in a Christmas story, isn't there?
There has to be an inn. Unlike the Nativity, though, there's also tap numbers, pianos, costumes.
This is a bit of a departure from all your Wanted stuff, Jay.
Yeah, I think it's different on stage and off stage, because obviously theatre audiences sit and watch, and they're less, rude posters and revealing body parts. But they do get lovely and rowdy at the end. We asked them to stand up and sing along, and everyone knows these songs. So
you haven't had anyone throwing anything unusual at you, shall we say, during the performance?
None of that yet. No.
What about you, Michael? Any?
I never throw anything at anybody. It's nice for me when I go outside because you get some older people will say, "I still remember you."
From Brookside.
Brookie, I remember you from.
A lot of our fans know you as well, and the Scouse ones are like, "Oh my God, it's Sinbad!"
Oh God, yeah, it's so funny.
He lives on.
Now, you've had a sort of a quiet year with The Wanted this year. Obviously, very, very sad news that you lost Tom. How are you doing? How are you and the lads coping?
Well, the last time I saw you was with Tom, and I think we're all really grateful that we managed to tour together. They're obviously really treasured memories, and now I'm enjoying sort of diving into something that's quite a nice distraction at the minute.
What do you think Tom would say about you doing White Christmas?
Well done, mate. Proud of you. That guy, everything that I did, he always showed up. And yeah, he's obviously very sorely missed, but...
He'll be here with you in the theatre, because I can just see Tom would be one of those people that'd be getting along, joining in, clapping in time, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He'd be absolutely loving it.
Can I get a free drink or what? That'll be him.
Let me sing a funny song with crazy words that roll along.
Lorna Luft, guys. What a megastar, the daughter of Judy Garland herself.
She's got her own sound, but she sometimes in some songs I'm like, oh yeah, I can see your mother in you right there. It's lovely to watch.
The first day we met her, it was in Peckham in the rehearsal room. She just came up and went, "Honey, hi, don't make me slap you before Christmas."
She's that big,
just laughs.
and she looks at you and you're like, "Sorry, Miss Luft."
She'll give you that.
Yeah.
You've got a long association with the show, haven't you?
I did the show for the first time about 16 years ago. I did it on and off up until 2019. And then they asked me if I wanted to come and join the UK tour. And I thought, it's come full circle. Yeah. I'm coming home. So it was really nice. It was really, really nice. And this cast is unbelievable. And we've become... this is my UK family.
Especially when you've got Michael here, who's from Liverpool.
I love him.
Has he been showing you around?
No, but he's arranging a tour.
Oh!
Yes, being a child of the 60s. There were 4 musicians that
good-looking boys
that would change my life, and they were from here, and so I'm going to go on the Beatle tour.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light.
Showbiz, it is in your blood, isn't it? Completely.
Yeah, I just went into the family business. Yeah. You know, I think that if you're born into a family of doctors, somebody's going to be a doctor, and I don't want to disappoint anyone, but it was my normal. My mom was my mom. She wasn't Judy Garland. She was. I always say she was everyone's icon, everyone's legend. She was my mom.
A merry little Christmas.
They loved her in this country, and so I'm very, very, very grateful to the audiences in Britain for the respect and the admiration and the love that they have given my family.
Well, that just looks like a fabulous show, doesn't it?
They can sing, can't they? They can sing.
Tell you what, the way things are going as well, it looks like all of us are going to have a white Christmas. Have you been getting any Christmas classics in?
No, but I'll be singing that song tonight as I go home.
Every Christmas, without fail, I watch It's a Wonderful Life, and I have my annual cry because it always tips me over the edge. A wonderful watch. If you haven't seen it at home, I highly recommend it.
OK. Well, the weather now, and just how long will this icy cold spell last? Here's Kerry with the answer.
Mom, wet wipes, toilet or bin?
Bin. Why?
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello, a very good evening to you. Wintry hazards persist all the way through for us into the weekend. For most of us in the shorter term, widespread hard frosts and yes, some winter sunshine, but the risk of some icy stretches. But as we head deeper into the weekend, there is a real snow risk, certainly for a few hours during the early part of Sunday, and behind that for some icy stretches for a time, but then mild by Monday into double figures. So in the shorter term, for today, it's been a mostly dry day with the showers staying out into the west and the east. But as we head deeper into tonight, we could see 1 or 2 freezing fog patches. For most of us, it's dry and clear, bitterly cold for all, sub-zero for all, and the temperature's taking a very similar tumble to last night. So in rural parts of Cheshire once more, parts of Cumbria down to -9, -10 Celsius. There are a few showers creeping into western fringes though by the time we reach dawn. There are sun times as we head into Friday. Rising 8:23, setting 3:50, bitterly cold, frosty, potentially icy start as these showers fall inland onto frozen ground. But for many of us, it will be dry. There'll be a good deal of weak winter sunshine and the temperatures are really going to struggle. So the blues you can see on our afternoon chart indicating that some places will not come above freezing. We start to get a bit of a breeze though. Those winds start to pick up in the west as we head towards the evening. And we have got a feature coming in from the northwest, and as it hits the colder air tomorrow evening and into the early part of Saturday, we could see some snow right over the Pennines, otherwise showery and a bit more cloudy, but then a wet and windy spell working into that cold air initially on Sunday, bringing snow. Behind that, rain and far milder by Monday.
Cleaned up well.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
-10, wow. Well, I'll have our next update just after news at 10.
Tomorrow we'll look at the efforts to help homeless people as the freezing temperatures continue.
And former Corrie star Victoria Econoy and her exciting new role.
We shall see you tomorrow. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Good night. Stay warm.